You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for the A-List Dallas. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest A-List Dallas news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for the A-List Dallas.
I do as I like, say what I want, got all I need, and I have my own crown, found it within, can take it from me. You'll never have me.
Sick.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the AfterBuzz for A-List New York, the reunion show, and A-List Dallas, mark my words. I'm Jackie Borowski, and with me is...
Cameron Marston.
And sitting across from me...
Natalie Bratney.
And I'm Natalie, too. No, I'm Kenny Harrison.
And in the booth, we have...
DJ Jesse Janity.
I got goosebumps
Yay.
on that. Oh,
Because whenever he speaks, it has that boom sound.
Yeah, I know.
We're
I like that.
gonna blast right through A-List New York reunion show because I feel like it's the same thing that we've been seeing on and off again. And if I have to watch Austin and Derek make up and break up and make up and break up one more time, I think I'm gonna eat my own
Translated,
hand.
Jackie doesn't want to insult the intelligence of our viewers and have to recap a show that you guys already watched. So,
Okay, or didn't watch.
Right.
yeah.
I mean,
And that's it. That was your
That was
recap for
it.
the New
That-
York.
Okay. Really?
Wait, all right. So, well, guys, come on. How long have we been doing this for? All right. No, but I didn't watch it, so a few questions for you guys. How did they connect last week's episode and this week's episode? I know we saw the battle between Austin and Nyasha.
it just
and it kind of
pretty
flowed into.
yeah, it pretty much flows
Yeah,
seamlessly.
I
It's
think
just-
I think what they did was they specifically had each segment and they couldn't fit it all in one episode, so they just continued on with the second one.
yeah. That's exactly how it read. It was
Yeah.
like they were
Yeah.
already.
So everything you saw last week, Jesse, pretty much it was a continuation of the same discussion, same like pretty much everything.
Yeah, it was it really was a recap of everything
Yeah.
you saw and like rehashing of old feuds and problems. I mean, I have little notes that are so random because I got so tired taking notes on the same old things. So I have things like, why is Nyasha wearing an 80s prom dress? Or why was Austin's Playgirl figure not even 5 figures?
Right.
It was $3,000.
Yeah.
No, he said it was not even 5 figures.
Yeah,
So,
3,000.
yeah. So it's-
I can't count.
Well, so how did and I heard at the end Derek and Austin kind of made up. How did that?
Well,
come about?
Flippant Derek.
yeah, well, the whole thing was.
Doesn't Wendy tells him to hug or something
Well,
like
no,
that?
before that, they wanted, I mean, the whole secret about who told Austin's business to everybody. And, you know, it was narrowed down to Ryan and Derek. And so Ryan was like, it wasn't me. And then it was pretty much put on Derek. And then after they argued back and forth for a good, 10 minutes, Derek finally, you know, decided,
he finally
okay,
says, oh, it was me.
it was me. I feel bad, blah, blah, blah.
This is just, I mean, this is like, I think Jesse mentioned this on another episode. It's like watching Ronnie and Sam and Jersey Shore. You get so over it. You're like,
Yeah.
I've seen this so many times.
Right.
I'm done. I'm done with it.
Although I'd prefer to watch Ronnie and Sam. Sadly, did they end up bringing Jake out at all?
No, they
No.
never
I
brought
wish they
Jake
would've.
or Martin, which
No.
I was a little disappointed.
It was such a dark period in my life.
Oh, and Austin confirms he wasn't fluffed.
Yeah.
He confirms
And
that.
it was all like for TV. But
Yeah, so we learn little like insights and contrivances and
I
who
will
started what. But
I will say, season 1, Rodney annoyed the shit out of me, and then by the end of this episode, the reunion, I was a big fan of Rodney because he spoke, barely spoke his
I got really
mind.
annoyed with Rodney during this episode.
No, I
compared to all
loved
the
it,
other
though.
episodes. He just kept
This
chiming
episode.
in.
Oh yeah.
He was annoying, but he was out of place on a lot of like points. It had nothing to do with him, but I just kind of loved his passion and his whole, you should pay. What goes around comes around.
I got it. He
Yeah.
was gonna take it. He didn't care. He wasn't gonna let it pass by.
Right, right.
So would you agree though that would you think that Austin is wrong then when he says that Rodney's relationship was a joke?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I
not
disagree
his
with
call.
that. But Rodney just sat up on like his platform and he would not stop.
Yeah. And
Just
I
bashing on Austin, and it just got old after a while.
I was okay with it.
But
Because,
But I think it's the same thing we always see. It's like everybody bags on Austin. Like Ryan tries to be the middleman. Mike says no comment.
no, but Mike actually like kind of defends him.
Yeah, Mike
The
says
three-
I was like that. It was,
Right.
and it's none of my business as
Right.
to his relationship and things.
And
Mike
he's-
always says the right thing.
Well, he's
Right.
dead on because he's much older and he
Right.
knows he said he admitted
That's the point. At some point,
Yeah.
Austin has to realize that this is the lesson you're gonna learn: foot in mouth. You gotta shut your trap. You
And
can't just
he-
speak how you feel because it doesn't reflect. Never mind.
No. That you make a great point because he's younger than 25. He's like 23. I mean, he still
Yeah.
has a lot of learning to do, and it's
Right.
just.
And I don't think Austin's wrong. And it's just that's part of his growing process, And for Ryan and Derek, well, Derek's flippant. But for Ryan to play that, I didn't do anything wrong. For me, the villain actually amongst all of them is Ryan. That whole back and forth. It's not wishy-washy. It's just that whole shady behind the scenes. I don't care if you smile in my face. I'll still stab you.
Mm-hmm.
Punch you in your throat.
Jeez.
Well, as far as Rodney having his little comments throughout the episode,
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes down to it, Austin never had a real reason to not like him.
Right.
And he really did put him and Riken through a lot last season and ended up breaking them up to be, if you want to really be technical about it.
Right.
He was like the straw that broke the camel's
But you know
back.
what?
But I
To
think it
go
was
back-
jealousy. I think
Yeah,
part of that's
and- yeah,
jealousy.
I
It's
totally
like
agree.
I totally
agree.
think that Austin has a crush on Riken, on Riken.
Still does.
And vice versa. Like I think that's a little bit of there's something going on there, and I think he wanted to push all the buttons that he could.
You know,
Well, what I thought was weird though was he had a boyfriend the entire time last season, or his husband.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
understand the reason for that jealousy. At the end of the day, he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm married."
Well,
My
my thing is,
if Jake was shady, because there's admittance there, now whether he fooled around, who knows? But the shadiness, Austin acting out and trying to get some kind of retaliation or some kind of payback.
and you have to also think back to when they first met in Palm Springs or whatever, Riken and Austin. They had like a 3-day fling, and being young and you got this handsome guy, and young people they get into this whole physical thing, and like they want to like. It's kind of hard for some people to let other people go, and we see that in this Dallas thing, with the
With
whole James and
Levi.
Well, that, and don't you also think, like, when we came into the first season, the whole thing was Austin was trying to get back into modeling, and that's kind of where
Right.
he's confronted with, girl, you're overweight on national television.
Mm-hmm.
And-
whereas Rodney, it was like,
Yes.
who just got pulled
Right.
out of wherever,
Yeah.
and now he's making it, and he's has Riken, and they look like the perfect super couple, and Austin has Jake.
Yeah.
and-
Totally. You hit both notes. I mean, he wanted to be a model. Rodney is a model. He wanted Riken, and Rodney had Riken. So,
Right.
and I think that's where that
And he had a much better body.
Yeah.
Our
I agree.
relationship was not a joke.
Bitch, please.
His English got even worse
Yes,
for the
it
second
did.
half.
It did.
That
You're
is
right.
that's what made actually him annoying, because it was so terrible, and they had to subtitle half the things he was saying, and I just I
Yeah,
couldn't.
it got worse during the second half. I was like, oh, what
But
just
I
happened?
find it interesting that they subtitled the entire season, but then when we needed to hear or see the subtitle, they didn't do it for these 2 episodes. I thought it was kind of funny.
Well, and you realize that the subtitles were even incorrect themselves.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
were
yeah.
playing
It was
off of
off
They
of
were
him.
totally
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like 8 o'clock at night or like 5 o'clock in the morning, and the editor is sitting there listening to Rodney. It's like, oh, fuck.
He just
This
probably got
sounds good.
tired and was like, okay.
He started typing anything.
And then to
quirky.
Austin's credit, as a young adult, the fact that he admitted that he had nothing going on in his life, and this is something Jesse brought
Oh,
up.
yeah,
he
Wendy
has
called him
nothing
out.
going on. Everybody
Mhm.
has something going on with their lives professionally. He had nothing. So
I thought that was a terrible way to end it. Poor Austin. Everyone's like, I have a clone. I have a new bronzing line. And he's like, I'm just living my life.
It's so funny she said that.
That
'Cause my
relationship
2
is
notes, and she
important.
can read it right here. I had Derek confesses, and then plugging products at the end. That was the only notes that
Yeah.
I had. I thought it was strategically placed with the
Well,
whole products.
Speaking of young people that don't really have jobs, we're going to move on to A-List Dallas.
I'll figure that out.
So can we cut to commercial?
All right, yep, and we also have a new commercial tonight. It's
Oh.
much shorter, so just
Nice.
be prepared.
I'm excited now.
Kenny,
let's hear it.
no getting up and leaving and going anywhere during the commercial break this time.
Why? I never do. I just crawl underneath the table.
The biggest new media platform on the web just got bigger. More bandwidth, smoother streaming, lightning fast downloads.
Don't get technical with me.
AfterBuzz TV is making the jump to hyperspace. Join the fun at your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Look at the size of that thing.
AfterBuzz TV.
What happened to Genesis is such a drama queen. I love that
I
line.
know.
I missed
well, now
that
it's
one.
look at the size of that thing.
Yeah. That's what all my
And the
tricks tell
funniest
me.
part is we have, of course, with the picture, it says A-List Dallas, and all you can see is with balls across.
Awesome.
Amazing. Hope you guys are enjoying that. Well, this episode was pretty much surrounding the events of this party. So let's talk pre-party.
First, let's look up the word flash
Please.
mob.
Sorry.
Yes.
Wait, Jack. So real quick. I mean, since that's the end of New York, do we think there's going to be a season 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Oh,
was hoping
definitely.
Oh, I thought we could have saved that for predictions.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Stay over there in the corner and don't talk,
I
Cameron.
just
please.
didn't want there to be one.
well, pre-party there was some laser hair removal going on.
I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was hilarious that he thinks it's a sin to look ugly. Like he struggles. The interesting thing about him is he struggles with this this whole real Republican mindset and kind of set of values versus his inner wild child where we find out he's having sex in stalls and things like that.
We're talking about Taylor.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has. I think he has a really, again, because this cast is so young, he has a really interesting kind of identity searching thing that's going on.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. No.
Just to add to that, I think I was mentioning it was bothering me how Levi was saying, giving all those details of their past, and he promotes himself as a Christian Republican and where he works, and I'm just wondering if he's having a backlash now if people who are watching who work with him who are probably Christian Republican who kind of turned a blind eye to what he does, or I mean not what he does, his lifestyle. I'm just wondering if there's any backlash to that because he's putting his business all out there.
I hope so.
I'm sure
We're
there
gonna have
will
to
be.
Google it because you've seen his butt on television already by now. Literally,
That was there.
it was there.
Well,
Everybody's
let's go-
checking under the stalls before they use the bathroom.
Well, we talked about this with the New York cast about this whole idea of being young and being beautiful, and it's just this whole idea of the Adonis factor that we talked about, and him wanting to remove all the hair from his body, and it's just I think.
Well, one
'Cause
of
we
you guys
said- we
in
kept
screening, one of you
seeing-
guys said somebody paralleled him to Austin, but he just has money, right?
Well, I didn't say that. Probably
Jesse.
Jesse.
I thought I heard someone
I'm in there.
relate Levi to Austin because of his body shape.
Was this his body shape?
That was
No,
Kenny
just-
thinking he
That
was
was
funny.
Kenny being
Not
mean.
even close. Austin has somewhat of a body. Levi does not. It's oddly shaped.
He shouldn't tuck in his shirt.
It's almost pear shaped.
It's a box. I was thinking like a robot
Yeah, very like gummy bear.
with like chicken cutlets. Sag.
I feel bad because he's actually thin, but in other standards, I guess not.
Never mind.
But see, and this is part
This
this is part of the
this is
show.
trying to be a
It's
good
it's
Christian. Sorry.
yeah. There's a lot
There's no
of
such thing.
Well, I kind of think he's exaggerating being Christian Republican. Just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Who?
oh yeah.
Taylor.
Oh,
Taylor.
yeah.
Because he's trying. I feel like part of it is this identity search thing. So he's like, I'm really this, but then you can see that he's fighting against these
Inner demons.
But I don't think he's
crazy desires.
I don't think he's necessarily fighting. Do you think he's fighting with
No,
inner
I think he's just trying to reconcile the two, and it just is.
Well, I think
feels
he's just
weird.
really naive. He's just kind of turning. He's not seeing the picture here.
right.
But does he not see the people around him? Not even, I'm not talking about the gay community. I'm talking about the people of Texas. Dallas.
And
You know
that's
what I
what's
mean?
concerning. Like when the show's airing, what are
Right.
people who in his group of Christian Republicans? I'm sure this isn't something that they like to see him on.
And I'm sure they don't know. They see cameras. They don't know what they're shooting. Like people don't understand what's going on, what the shooting is for, or maybe they do. I don't know. But
and for someone who wants to keep such a big secret, you have no shame in your game talking about, oh well, if vanity is a sin, it's a sin to be ugly, or I banged someone in a bullpen. Like
right, yeah. That's like I think that's the part Jesse hit on it. That's the part that's weird to me. I'm like you're talking like in the last episode when he's talking over the Bible and then like talking about doing Levi, and I'm like, wait, what?
Or no, that's what he wanted to pray about that week.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know
let's
what?
pray about if I like Levi or not.
We've seen it so many times, and you guys know what I'm talking about. The Republican, Christian downhole good boys who like they hate gay people. They're not for equality.
It turns out they're gay.
They're the
their
one
feet under the stall.
or rent boys from Europe to carry their bags when they go travel. Carry the bags. I mean, it happens. I mean, it's like hypocrisy in that. And when I say culture, I'm meaning Republic, Southern. It happens. It just so happens that he's very vocal and he's out and open about it in front of the cameras. So.
Right. So, moving on, let's rip on Ashley. Even though I
I love her,
but she's still like she's like Jessica Simpson part 2. First off, I want to know, how is this quote unquote A-list person? She has like bed sheets for curtains, and she has nothing in her apartment. Her apartment looks like shantytown.
You know what?
It looks like Nyasha's office.
I've already ditched the whole A-list.
Yeah.
I ditched the whole A-list label. It doesn't apply to any of these people. And if I could rename the show, I would. But it's,
I know.
it's out of my.
She's a dancer.
But so when we're watching it and we're watching the rehearsal, and my first comment is, why are there 5 people in the rehearsal for a flash mob? And then later on you find out that there's only like 12 people and that she doesn't understand the definition of flash mob.
And then it wasn't even a surprise. Everyone got ready to see their dance on stage.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I saw an episode of Modern Family where they actually had a flash mob. Isn't everyone involved in the flash mob? Okay.
Everyone learns to dance and then jumps in.
I also saw that Oprah Winfrey show where the
Black Eyed Peas one?
Yeah, and the people actually had to go and rehearse, and everyone was in on it except for Oprah. So when I thought flash mob, I'm like, okay, well, I guess everyone in the party is going to be doing it too.
Well, it wouldn't really be a flash mob if everybody in the party knew about it. It just
but
would be
most
a majority.
of the people,
you'd have a large amount.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It would be more people.
But then again, he didn't have that many friends, so.
Yeah, they said 500 people were there, and I saw I counted 23.
It was a Nyasha party. Even though Chase has ugly hair, he's growing on me.
He's my second favorite.
I can't stand him.
I like his one-liners.
Oh my god!
I can't stand his shorts. He goes to all these classy events, and then he wears these teeny little shorts.
I can't stand his voice. I can't stand his hair.
I did like, though. I liked the whole in the pre-planning for the party. I like it when he's talking about the food and. He says, well, if Ashley hates it, and that means it's really refined.
I wrote it down. If Ashley is about to dry heave, I know it's good.
He has some good one-liners.
I thought it was funny.
Does.
And then when they had brought all the food out, and someone says, I think, we're running out of dead animals to show you.
Yes.
That was a little insulting.
That's British humor, though. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I love their sarcasm.
Also, did anyone else find it funny, Levi's description of their relationship when he's like, we had 2 months together. We did a lot of stuff together. He made it seem like they had this relationship that had been going on for
We walked the dogs together.
Yeah. He made it seem like they had a relationship that was going on for like 2 years.
Come on, Jackie. When you were 5 years old and you had your little boyfriend from down the street for 5 days, you guys did a lot of things in that 5 days, right?
Well,
it was 5, though, not 25.
How long were the guys together in Brokeback? Before they hit it.
Oh, well, they worked together.
They were up on the mountain.
Like
well, they were up on the mountain for a few weeks before they,
But they kept meeting up
before Jake.
Maybe it's
gave
a cowboy
it up.
theme.
But when you're with sheep and there's nothing else around, I'd hit it too.
I think that would make a nice backdrop. I think that would have made a nicer backdrop than the oil rig that they had, like 2 cowboys on horses in the background.
All I remember from that movie was
somebody's drilling.
See, like
no. All I remember was what's his name, Heath Ledger, spitting in his hand and going for it. That was just like the.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
That's true.
Okay, back to the A-list Dallas.
I'm just making
there aren't that many.
and I'm sure they do that on Dallas too.
Available.
Yeah.
Oh, and
or sap on the trees.
So wait, what's?
Let's do our own show.
I I haven't really like got into these characters yet. What's the name of the kid who's the alcoholic?
James
Van Doyle.
Do you like how he brings his own flask to a restaurant?
And he was already drunk, like midway
Before he got
through.
there,
Yeah.
I love how like people would call, this is my defending Austin again. People called Austin an alcoholic. Yeah, people called Austin an alcoholic. Not even. This guy's like always drunk. He's always drunk.
But you know what? See, and just knowing how reality TV worked, I can just see some producer or somebody going up to him in the middle of the scene and handing him a bottle underneath the table.
Here,
and
you
be
look
like
like you need
I feel like he does
exactly.
that. I feel like he does that in his everyday life.
I feel like he's rich enough that he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
And the
Easily
difference
available.
between him and Austin is he owns it. He's like, what? Because I'm a hot mess and I got drunk.
He is.
Austin would be like, I can handle my liquor. No, you can't.
I still find it hard to believe that he would bring a bottle of liquor to like 4 o'clock
I think that's
afternoon.
just how he is, though.
Yeah, it was
He's
a
like going
bottle
behind the
of
bar and making stuff
And it was
at
a
the party.
cheap bottle. Like I went to the like grocery store and got the cheapest thing. That looked too not. I don't think. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
But I
here.
knew people like that in college. They would just do that. It's like they had a flask in their shirt and they came into the restaurant like that.
A flask. He came with a bottle of liquor. There's a difference.
Actually, one of my friends did that. We went on vacation. She had her own bottle of vodka in her purse.
So there
I
we
was
go.
just thinking about that.
It's
That
not-
did happen.
Yeah,
So,
it's like
that's common.
I did it in Vegas once, but I mean, I was with friends.
I think his life is perpetual Vegas. Like I feel like that's how he lives.
And that's the thing. He's young. He's living off a trust fund. He has no job. He's doing nothing.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
if I was like that, I'd probably be boozing it up every chance I get because I got nothing else to do. You know.
He is
Why
sort
not
of like
stay
the
drunk?
rich Austin because Austin doesn't have anything else going on. They should meet.
no,
Oh God,
He should
no.
support his habit or something.
I do. That would be cool to see the cast meet. That would be interesting.
I don't know. Could you date somebody who spoke with an underbite like that?
He does. He does.
Him and Philip.
Oh,
And not to
God.
rag on the underbite issue, but it's a no.
Yeah. And it's like he owns it, but he's self-conscious at the same time. Do you guys get that feeling? Like
Because
he's
it
like,
always comes out strong.
And it
when
gets
he's
worse.
drunk.
Exactly. It gets worse because he gets all red and flushed. He's like, yes. It's just something about his face. It's very.
yes.
Welcome to the
That
club.
was his face. That was his face.
I'm working on my impression, but I have to keep watching and then I'll get it down.
That was his face. Oh my gosh. So the party I thought was awesome because it turned into a hot mess, and that's what I like to see on television.
Can we back up for a little bit before
Yeah.
we get to the party? Can we talk about Phil and his
I was gonna do that last.
Oh, okay. I was gonna talk about
Because
his
you're going to lead
mom.
that into topics. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Sorry, this is your show. I forgot.
So can we talk about the party?
Can I be a bossy bottom? I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
So how did you guys like the hot mess party? I loved it.
I think the pool thing got blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
It's just water.
Yeah, but also I feel like that wasn't even like, I feel like he didn't even really hit them that hard to
But
let them in.
I think the issue is embarrassment.
Yeah.
And they hesitated a little and then they fell in the pool. I don't know. It
Well,
wasn't
I
that
think they
big.
tried to brace themselves.
Yeah, I
in
think
the
they were
water.
bracing
And they were
themselves.
also drunk already.
That's true.
Right.
I found it disturbing that Levi, towards the end, went to go attack Taylor. Aren't
I
they
would too.
dating? I mean, that's signs for an abusive
Yeah,
relationship.
but
that-
that's like,
I think the whole problem was that there was no remorse from Taylor. He was just like, I don't care. And I think.
But I'm sure that the fact. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Jesse.
Well, editing, I want to ask you guys, because this kind of came in my head.
Yeah.
Do you think Taylor might have been like, why is Philip talking to Levi? Like, because the two of them were
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
talking, and Philip can
point.
probably be a little flirty.
That's
and
true.
Taylor could have been like, he's doing this, and with Levi. And
I think that James possibly also fed into it because before he pushed them, he said, I'm going to push them into the pool. So you don't know how much time span or was in between the shots, and did information get back to Levi? Like he would plan that. And even if it wasn't intended for Levi, it's like the whole Nyasha hit. Even though you didn't intend it for me, I was a victim of circumstance.
And
So-
I also think, I wasn't there, but for me, when I was watching it, it seemed like they had crowded all the people together in one
Yeah.
little.
Yeah.
And if you and if you look closely, they roped off the sides to the sides of the pool.
but
So
that also might
everybody-
be like the high school
Yeah.
dance factor where
Well.
you've got so many people, like you've got like 3 people at the party and you want them to mingle. So, and that's where the bar happens to be too. So you're like, okay, well,
But
let's
don't you also
just
think it's a matter of
these.
if you want to be on camera, you better stay in these
Yeah.
markers?
That's true.
You want to be on camera, you want to talk to people, you want to be near the bar, you got to stay in the
I just
or
kinda
If you
think
want
something.
to get out of
agree to
Dallas
be
and the
pushed
rest of
into
your
the
life, you got to
Yeah.
get on camera.
I don't know.
I feel Taylor is like, remember how I used to say Derek was like manic depressive? I feel like Taylor's like that's how he is, because
Really?
his whole like he's like, oh, I love this guy, and he's like, no, now I'm gonna push them into the pool. It's like these violent, like crazy mood swings.
No, you know, I just think it was just drunk. I mean, because obviously when he was outside, he was just slurring words and I'll beat them up, they're pussies and blah blah blah. I think it was just alcohol.
Well, and the whole thing, like, I hope Levi can keep his hands to himself. Meanwhile, he's all over Levi and
Yes!
territorial.
That Pee Wee Herman tie or bow tie should have tipped people off. He was up to no good.
Yeah,
the bow tie.
he was up to no
Bow
good.
tie.
He was gonna go spinning around and wheeling off and hitting people.
He was building a glory hole.
He just needed the little hat with the little spinner on top.
Jeez.
God.
I'm actually glad what's his face went into the pool, Phil.
Oh, I am. Yes.
I thought it was funny.
So what? That would mute his voice, maybe.
Probably, and of course
Well,
it
you
made
can
it
tell
worse. obviously.
if we are getting annoyed as audience members, think about how annoyed the people are that have to stand next to him and listen to him.
But it wasn't just then. It was like Ashley on the couch. It was like
Yeah.
everybody was just like, oh, get away
he wants
from
to be
me.
in everyone's business.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's like,
he wants to be seen and heard, and it's
Yeah.
annoying. And I feel really, I shouldn't be talking, but guilty. You know, he's annoying. He's
No, he
he's
is.
very annoying.
Guilty of what, Kenny? What are you talking about?
Being me.
But
Expound
at
on
least
that.
he admits that he has an issue, like when he's talking to his therapist. So I
He
think that's where it
annoys me.
stems from.
Yes. So let's talk. Yeah, let's
I
talk
like how
about
she's
Phil.
black.
The how
Here we
who
go.
is
It's
her
a color
therapist?
issue again.
Well, I've never seen a black therapist on TV. I'm not trying to be funny. I've never seen a black therapist, not a black female therapist on
Oprah.
TV. She doesn't count. She has her own
She's
problems.
honorary.
She is honorary. I'll give you
Oprah's
that.
like a therapist. Yeah. Well, let's talk about Phil's issue with he feels like he can't. I mean, he's out to his mom, but he feels like he can't really talk to her about it.
Well, I think the whole
And that was like this was like, for me, I wrote down, this is like the Mike scene. You know, the scene where you're like, oh, like this is actually something decent that I'm
substance.
watching.
I
This
think
is something
the difference
substantial.
between Mike and Philip though is you meet Philip and you're like, yeah. he's
Oh, no, I
don't feel-
I don't
so I
feel
think
they're
that's what
alike.
makes his mom uncomfortable.
Our thing
whereas
about Mike was
Yeah.
that whenever Mike was on scene or in scene, there was substance.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Whether it was 5 seconds worth or
you got something
And
out
I
of
and
it.
there was something.
I was feeling that this
is
season,
it.
this season might be missing that element of substance,
Right.
and so it's nice to see that they're still trying to put in a little bit of
Because, look,
substance.
He looks uncomfortable. Like he's there like this. It's supposed to be relaxed, but his hands are in there and the whole conversation. So I find that there's some sincerity in it.
I want to watch an
On top of
entire
the fact that
Philip
he's a flaming
episode
queen.
on mute just to see his facial expressions. Just to like add my own commentary in. He's so like vibrant. I just love it. His
I would love
faces
to
are
hear
so
Natalie's
animated.
voice over
Some mystery
Phil's.
science
He
theater.
exaggerates.
It
3000.
doesn't sound like it would be any different. Hers might be deeper than his.
But
He
funny.
exaggerates his lips so much you would be able to tell exactly
What he's saying, exactly.
But inserting something else in there, not like word wise, would be funny.
You'd have a hit.
Yeah. My thing about the whole Phil and the mom thing is like, and I can totally relate, not necessarily with my mom, but like with, people growing up, is like he is who he is, but it's just a matter of acceptance. And it's not like, I think him being out is one thing, but he wants to be him and he wants to be accepted. And I think that takes it to the next level. I mean, anybody can come out, but it's a fear that a lot of people, and not just gay people, just want to be accepted, and they're afraid to have to every time go home to like put on a facade just so that people feel comfortable, or you don't want to and it's ironic because he obviously with this group stands out, but I feel like when he's around his family, his kinfolk, it's totally different. I think he tones it down. And
Well, we see little trailers of him with his dad. Not that he was a screaming queen, but he wasn't any more masculine.
I didn't see that.
He's hugging his dad. He's like,
Yeah, I didn't see that.
and it's one thing to be, for me, I think it's one thing to be overtly feminine, and that's you. But there's another thing to be an attention queen.
But here's my question: which one is he? Is he? Is
I think right now he's both.
Is he? But is he naturally like that? I mean,
Maybe when he grows up, he won't need all that attention. Maybe when he feels accepted, then he won't feel like he has to scream to be accepted.
or bounce around from people to people.
Maybe he realizes
group
he's
to
not
group.
that relevant
Well,
to everybody else's life, and he takes care of himself.
But I think I liked that when he was talking to this guy he met. What was the guy's name?
The
Mexi
Mexican.
Mexi.
Leo.
The Mexican. That's all I remember.
I just call him Sexy Mexi.
Sexy
I
Mexi.
like that.
Yeah. When he was talking to him, I like that they give him a scene where it's not just like him and the camera and him and the audience. They bring in another person, so you see that, okay, and he says, we have this in common because this is not just my problem. This is a common problem where you have people that are of certain religious beliefs or in certain parts of the United States where they hold certain beliefs that no matter how hard you try to be accepted, you're still running up against these roadblocks.
Right.
Yeah. And we saw that with Ryan and the producers of, him dealing with that last season about like them telling him to tone it down,
Right.
That was my favorite episode. I thought that was funny. He needed advice for.
And it involved Mike.
Yes. It was a Mike scene.
And totally off topic, going back to Mike and the reunion from the last episode, something came up. Oh, Wendy asked Mike, what do you think of Austin and his, and he was like, I don't get, it was none of my business, And
at this point in my life, it's none of my business.
Yeah,
but when
exactly.
maybe when I was 30, I would have been jacking on it too. But
right.
Well, I guess like drawing into our special topic, I sent around an article that Mike and Martin. I have to actually say thanks to my friend Jonathan. He sends me a lot of links to different things.
Why doesn't he call in? He should call
Jonathan,
in.
if you're listening right now, you should
I know
call
he's
in.
listening. Hello.
We know you're listening, and you can call in anytime.
Why
There's
doesn't
no
he go
right
on
or
the
wrong time.
couch? I'd sit on the couch and he can.
No, he spends.
He lives in Orange County.
I don't know Jonathan. I was gonna start ragging on Jonathan.
No,
think it over.
Jonathan, call in.
He lives in Orange County. That's why he's not here. But he
we know you can afford the
You can
phone
catch her
call.
out with Courtney.
She's coming from the boondocks. Moving on.
So he sent me this article that was basically Mike and Martin talking about Martin's child situation, which was interesting because we find out that Martin was openly gay when he married this woman, and then they had children, and then for whatever reason, it just went completely sour, and now he's not allowed to see his children. And then Martin was talking to his priest or pastor in their religious community about it, and the priest basically, as a response, doesn't side with him, and then says that I feel that all you gay people have Peter Pan syndrome, meaning that he was bringing up the way people act at Pride and things like that, and saying that I feel that he feels that he wouldn't be a good parent, basically, because for whatever reason he's still stuck in a youth community. And I mean, I just find it also interesting because you have that coming from people like Mike and Martin, who to me are so not Peter Pan syndrome people. They're so grounded and they're so responsible. And it's like, I think that, that's part of the harm of stereotyping people. And just because you go to a festival or a party or a parade and you see people acting a certain way, then you automatically lump in this group of people. So what do you guys think about that?
I think that Martin should have never went to the church.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know why
that
you went
was
in the
another
first place.
thing.
Well, you know
That
what?
bothered me.
I actually like the fact, because from what I gather from the article, is that he went there and it sounded as though it
was
priest,
a ploy, I think.
Yeah, and I think the priest was trying to provoke an argument out of him, and he just calmly, when he needed to step up and say, okay, it's not like this, he did, but he basically, held his ground. Yeah, he was very respectful, and he knew that he wasn't going to get anything. I felt like he knew that he wasn't going to get anything out of it. And I forget.
You hope for the best and expect the worst.
Exactly. And I think, I forget who said it, but I think because during the show, they both might have alluded to the fact that they're not allowed to speak on this issue because it's a legal issue. However, it pretty much is put in an article, and that could harm the legal proceedings from this point. But it's done in a way it may not help them in this particular case, but it could help somebody.
Making a big sacrifice.
Right. It could help somebody, down the road. I have a lot of questions. When I read the fact that they were married and she knew that he was gay, that just kind of like red flags. And I'm not saying, and I'm sure, I don't know if they were like best friends and, you know, she was okay with it and like they had kids and now, you know, she fell in love with it. I don't know. And that would clarify a lot of issues.
That's a good point to not pass it, but we don't know what he told her. We don't know what he promised her.
Right, exactly.
So again, my issue with her is not the fact of what happened in their relationship, is the fact that she's going to harm her children to make a point, or that naive, she's harming her children in the name of God per se.
It was also implied that she was almost brainwashing the children,
Mm-hmm.
saying that like the kids were saying odd things, and that's terrible.
Well, just making it,
hurtful.
you know, whenever, I guess when Mike and Martin came around, you know, the kids were really weird about them in that situation. And I don't know how old the kids are now. I know they were together 8 years with 2 kids. That's a fascinating
Mike,
relationship.
In that blog article, whatever it was, Mike made a good point about the repercussions or the ramifications that it has on, say, a person like Martin in the situation. Because after reading it, I guess I had put it on a shelf in the back of my mind. The only time in my life that I've ever felt remotely suicidal, not that ever was a big issue, was when my girlfriend and we had raised her niece. When we broke up, my biggest fear was that she would never let me see my daughter. And honestly, that was the only time I've ever felt suicidal. Like, you know, what's left. I mean, and I think, honestly, I probably stayed in the relationship a month longer because of that fear.
I think a lot of people do that. And I think people in general do that. And I know couples, my grandparents, they stayed together until my grandmother died, and they
were miserable somewhat.
They were miserable. I mean, they were loving, but they were miserable. And this is from like years. My grandparents were in their 80s my grandfather was in his 80s, but like just being in the South, and when you married somebody back then, you stayed married. I don't care what happened. You know, and then not to put my family business out there, but like, you know, when she passed away when I was 15 years old, you know, children started coming up out of the woodwork that I'd never heard of, like my parents never heard of. It was just like, we do things. Well, I don't have children, but like people do things for kids, and
true. And
ironically, when I hear about, you know, people staying together for their kids, I'm just like, are you crazy? And then I think about it, it's like, you know what, you do what you can for your kids. You want to keep that. You want
even further on that point. I think what you're trying to get at is we do the best we can with what we know and what we have.
Right.
Yeah.
And it may not always be enough, but that's all you got.
Right.
So.
But I think it's also important to kind of like tie this in. It's also, people need to realize, like Kenny said, he was like, this is how his grandparents were or whatever. This is not an exclusively gay issue or an exclusively this issue or that issue. It's like there are so, you know, if people realize commonalities, there would be less wars and less fighting. And this is just a problem. It's not a gay problem. It's not a straight problem. It's a problem that exists. And I think the thing that troubled me was Martin goes away from the article kind of like chewing over the Peter Pan syndrome thought. And it's like, think of how many straight adults that have Peter Pan syndrome, how many straight adults that, you know, go in and, you know, have relationships too young or are young parents and aren't ready and things like that. And I don't think comparing like, you know, what people do at festivities, like my mom loves parades and she is by no means irresponsible. She just like, if you like to dress up and go to a parade, that doesn't mean you have Peter Pan syndrome. And I think that worries me that, you know, there are, and I know it's a church, but there are authority figures out there kind of promoting that idea. And
I think, and as far as the parade thing goes, as many floats as you have, like the naked men and like with their bright colors and blah blah blah, you have the same number of floats with like the P flags and you know, the fight for AIDS and the fight for this and all the
with the families. There are floats with families on them.
But
and as many molesters as there are in the church, there's as many good pastors.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or like spring break in Cancun, there's girls in bikinis and wet t-shirt. It's everywhere. It's not just the gay community.
Right. Exactly.
And I know those pastors are okay with, you know, the girls going wild.
Who are probably their daughters.
Footloose.
That's a whole
And no,
syndrome.
it's
in
weird,
its
and I
own.
know this sounds terrible. That when I thought of Peter Pan, I immediately just thought of Michael Jackson. I love him, but he is Peter Pan syndrome all the way.
Yes.
and I
totally agree.
don't think Mike and Martin or any gay people are like that at
No.
all.
But don't you guys also think that Peter Pan syndrome?
Oh, hey, Jess.
Hey,
I almost forgot he wasn't here.
doing a little work.
Did you wash your hands? Oh, okay.
Oh Lord.
Oh, I love it. The cat's
Oh,
out the
no.
bag.
All right, so
Serve it.
but don't you think that Peter Pan syndrome, as far as like when I hear that, like to me, the only thing I would have taken away from that conversation, because I have actually had an issue with my priest as well, but I mean, as far as him saying what we do at parties and things like that, the immediate thing that comes, I know way more straight people who have way more parties that do crazier things. But what irritates me about that comment as far as Peter Pan syndrome is the fact that you're basically saying in a supremacist way that because I like guys, I haven't fully developed into my being, and I'm in this state of romping around, because a lot of the times they say, oh, he's just in a phase, a little kid playing with a boy or something like that. Oh, it's just a phase, he'll grow out of that. So to me, that's what I take more offensively out of that comment.
Even more
I
so,
agree with
because
you.
it can be taken to a wider spectrum. So because I can't procreate and have children with my partner, so be it with male or female, I'm not an equal human, but that can be then approaches a female who can't bear children.
Sure.
A
Right.
man
But
who's
then-
sterile.
I also took it as in the whole Peter Pan complex, that, certain, I'm just going to apply it to me. I was, living in the closet for so long, and when I finally came out, it's kind of like this whole kind of new world, and it's kind of like a rebirth, so to speak. And in the last 7 years, I've had this whole thing. It's like, oh, this is a kind of a new me. This is kind, I'm still young. I'm still learning about me, and like blah blah blah. And I was telling everyone via email, is like, I'm 31 years old, and there is no way I can see myself being a responsible parent and growing up and taking that responsibility on as a child. That's me personally. And I think when we see, and I think for a lot of straight men or straight people, maybe priests, and I think they look at that as saying, oh, these guys, these homosexuals, they're in their 30s and 40s, and they're still romping around like they're like teenagers.
I think
You know what I
that
mean?
was part of the point by
Yeah,
the
that was
priest,
part of
that
Jesse's point.
by the fact that you don't have children, because it's not always by choice that you have a child. You're forced into
Right,
responsibility and
exactly.
accountability, and that's part of where my email was, is that I do understand that concept. I do believe, and even in Martin's, I don't know if it was Mike or Martin who stated it, that it is a plausible idea. The reality is there is a Peter Pan syndrome or complex, either way.
Either way.
But it's also in the straight community. And we talk about, we play volleyball, we live paycheck to paycheck. Well, I do.
We all do.
So,
We all
but I mean,
do.
so at what point do you start saving, just in case you are going to have a family and buy
Well,
some
and that's the thing
property
about,
and-
we don't have to worry about that per se, because we don't have to have.
But, so part of us, we proliferate that mentality. Because that's not necessarily true. We can still, eventually, hopefully, we can adopt.
And that's the thing, is like, whenever we want to get up and go out, like if I want to go out to the club right now after the show, I can. I don't have to work, go home and find a babysitter. I don't have to be responsible. I can just get up and go.
So devil's advocate, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
That's
I also
very
think
true.
that's guys in general. There are straight men who don't want to have kids, who are in their mid 30s and they still
That's
have
why I said
the
you can
Yeah,
apply it to
okay,
heteros
good,
as well.
Yeah, it's not. And
But it's more of a dagger towards the gay community coming from the church.
Right.
Right.
'Cause
And I
it's
guess-
more visual, I guess.
yeah, I mean, to wrap this up, because we're running out of time. It
Because
just
Carmen Miranda's on a float somewhere.
I know, right? I wish people would just see it as a thing that happens to everybody. It's not just exclusive to the gay community, and a lot of problems are not just exclusive to the gay community.
Give us the opportunity, and we're kind of forced to grow. That's all I gotta say.
I just have to, one last thing is like this unique relationship that Martin, this family that he put together, is by far the first time I've ever heard of it. And I'm so really fascinated by it, because I've heard about the surrogates and, your best, I have a partner, but I want to bring in another woman to bear our children. That I've seen and heard before, but this marrying a woman and
Knows
she
you're
knows.
gay.
Yeah, that is very fascinating. Cam said it. It's like we don't know what he said to her. We don't know their dynamic. I don't know if they live together. I just find it very fascinating.
And why she has so much hate? Because she went into it knowing
Yes.
that he was gay.
Yeah,
She
that's
wasn't
weird.
hateful.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
all
Well,
of a sudden
maybe
it's
it's
weird.
projecting. Maybe it's projecting the self-hate that she has for allowing herself to be put in this position.
Right.
She chose this path, and whether she was fooled or not, I mean, it's not really being fooled.
I feel that when a person has a child with another person, there's some kind of love or there's some kind of connection, or
You're always connected.
yeah. And I think that, and she may be driving that. I want to know if they had.
Maybe she's shameful at her kids. Like I said in the email, at some
Right.
point these kids are gonna grow up, and it's a hard reality.
Yeah.
These kids are gonna look back and go, "Mom, my mom was probably stupid. Was she
Right.
dumb?"
Yeah. Exactly.
And then so why not set the dad up to be the villain,
Crazy.
the lesser of two evils?
Well, I don't have any news and gossip because we were covering both shows. But Zachary Quinto, how do you say his name?
Quinto.
Quinto. He
So
came
I'm just
out.
getting he was the one who
Quinto.
was. Can you hear me now? That's the one. No.
What?
Zachary
where-
Quinto.
No,
Commercial.
that's the other one.
What commercial is he
He
from?
was on. Zachary was Spock in the new Star
Star
Trek,
Trek.
and he was the guy. He was the villain.
Oh,
And then the second coming out article that Kenny sent was the
Can you hear me now, guy?
Can You Hear Me Now guy, which we can touch on that as a special
Well, wait, going
topic
back to
in
the
next
Star Trek
episode.
guy, there was two news correspondents who were discussing it on the news, and one of the anchorman was like, I'll reconsider dating actors, and that was his coming out, and he wrote an article like, yeah, I guess I just did it, and I thought that was really
Oh, that is cool.
like,
Dr. Quinto, Evil God and Heroes, right? That's the one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Silver Lake, almost.
yeah. Does anyone have any predictions?
Do we have to hear that music?
Can you hear me now?
Shut
You heard
the
it
front
first.
door.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Shut the front door.
Nice.
You can shut the back door. too.
predictions for upcoming.
Predictions for the next episode.
So New York's done.
New York Sun.
Wait, Mike Martin show?
I would
love
watch
that.
it.
Yeah.
I would
But
love
how boring would it be, though? I mean, 'cause
Very boring.
Oh my
They-
God, you
they-
are so wishy.
No,
it
but
would just be their Asian dad.
I would watch it only because it would be more informative than entertainment.
And I'd want it to
What's
be.
wrong with
It
that?
would be. It would
It's
have to be
boring.
on Lifetime or TLC, like a more
Yes.
sensitive.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mike and Martin +8.
Jesse's face, and he's like,
Now,
oh, okay.
now, if it was Mike and Martin and the ex-wife, that show would be fun to watch.
Oh Lord.
With the Asian dad.
With the Asian dad.
Exactly.
I'd have to go on MTV maybe.
Exactly. So, is it going to be a season 3?
I hope not. I'm not doing it. Sorry, guys. I'm just letting you know.
I think they're touching on some issues that I think are important, or maybe
Like
just
what?
I want to know about the abuse between Austin and.
Who
Yes.
cares?
Do gay drunk men fight when they get drunk? Is that a
I have to
normal
be
thing, or
honest.
is that?
I
It's
think
an
that's a
emotional-
relationship emotional problem thing. That's like a battered women
I have to
syndrome.
say,
But
I
they
don't
both
know.
get drunk and they willingly just fist fight
Yeah.
each other. That's how it came across. I'm like, do people do
Can
that?
you get to back me up here?
Oh no, Lordy.
I'm going to
If it
try.
is, it's okay because guys can defend yourselves.
No, I mean not in all my relationships. Sometimes it actually led into
Okay, I got
never
it.
mind.
No, hey, you open the bag. I want
Natalie's
to hear
like,
it.
and done.
No, I want to hear
I've
it.
had some where they liked it.
I will back you up on
Some
that
people
one.
have a safe word. Let's
No,
just
no,
say
it-
that.
No, I mean it wasn't that. It was just it was such a heated argument.
It's not like it's not fueled by anger. It's fueled by aggression and being a man and it leads
and it
to
turned
other
into
things.
sexual. Oh
Well,
my
it
gosh!
came across as something else, and then Yash was like, "You need help. And
And I know
maybe
that's
Austin
wrong
and
on
Jake
so many
were
levels. I'm
doing
What's
it
sorry.
wrong with it? What's wrong with
Because
it?
it doesn't send a good picture, and the relationship didn't last, so obviously that was probably maybe a symptom. And our time is up.
Okay, yes.
And scene.
And scene.
Thank you for watching us. We finished on time, guys.
Yeah, do
No,
we
we
have more
didn't.
fun?
That clock has been stopped for the past 3 minutes.
None of that was on. I thought we made some good points.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Can you hear me now?
Good.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.